everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is a meal plan and prep with me. I wanted to show you all how I plan our dinners for the week as a family of 4 and just show you kind of the process and how I do it. So the star of the show is really this notebook. I'm obsessed with it. It's from the brand Spaces. I've had their planners for the past 2 years, but I don't know what happened. I totally blanked and forgot to order one, and then I missed out. But I will say this notebook has been super amazing and functional, and I really do love it. So if you're looking for something to help you stay organized and keep everything in its own spot and help you plan, I'd say this notebook is definitely it. So I am just using one of the areas in this notebook, and that is where I plan our dinners for the week. So I just start out by writing Monday through Sunday, and then I start planning. So you'll see here in a second I skip down to Friday, and that's because I know that every single Friday my husband and I, we're gonna eat out, and we'll just make something easy for my daughter. My son is 7 months old, so he's kind of on his own plan every night anyways. But I really do try and think through my meals and try and make it as easy as possible for myself. So Monday I'm making pulled pork, and on Tuesday I'm doing, we call it fancy mac. It's just mac and cheese that's not out of a box. But so I know on those 2 nights I'm gonna have pulled pork as a meat, and I'm also going to have buffalo chicken. And so I'm trying to also plan meals that I can use leftovers in a new way, so it doesn't feel like we're eating leftovers. It feels like you're eating a new meal. So now that I've planned out our whole week of dinners, I am just writing it on this acrylic calendar that I like to keep on my fridge. It's nice because then my husband can also see what's for dinner, and he likes to look forward to it, and it does help to have 2 sets of eyes on the dinners. So if we need to set meat out or something, he's also looking and double checking to make sure something gets set out, just to make sure our nights run smoothly. I think it's important to know with any plan too, there are issues that come up, or you have to be able to be flexible. Some nights, I have a meal plan, but then we end up going to my parents to hang out, and that's totally okay. On the fancy macaroni and cheese night, I ended up forgetting an ingredient, so I had to pop down to the store really quick and come back. And so you can be as prepared as possible, but just expect that you're gonna have these mistakes. Myself especially, I feel like I make these silly little mistakes all the time, but even with those hiccups in the road, it still feels so much better to be planned, because when those hiccups happen and you have to pop down, it doesn't feel as daunting, because you're not doing that every single night. So I just planned, put in a Walmart order, went and picked it up, and then we are going to unload everything inside. So we have our stuffed animals greeting us when we walk in, the dog's in the way, here comes my crazy little daughter behind me helping me unload, and it's just the perfect blend of chaos, and I just love it. I love being at home with them, and I love being a mom, and I wouldn't have it any other way. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jamison. I am a stay-at-home mom of 2 kiddos. My daughter is 2 and like 2 months old, and then I have a 7-month-old son, and we're just in the midst of crazy and chaos, and I'm so happy you're here. Okay, so I wanted to show you everything on this side is just for the meals that I've planned for dinner, and then as we move towards, this left side, this is just like, typical groceries, but see how important it is to plan your dinners. I totally would have had to go back to the store at some point or run by and pick up another ingredient or try and come up with a different idea for dinner because I wasn't planned and prepared. And so just being prepared helps everything run so much smoother. So now I'm just loading up the pantry, and I'll load up the freezer and the fridge with our groceries as well. And I do try and stay organized in all the areas. It just helps me like mentally not have like chaos, and it also helps me see what I have, what I'm running out of, and not to mention it looks super cute. So this container down here is like my backstock area, things that I have extras of or I buy double of, like if we go to Sam's or something, and I like to just have that area so that in case we run out of something that I can easily just pull it from the backstock and reload us, and then I know I need to order whatever it was that I just pulled out of the backstop on our next Walmart order. And I do like to use the acrylic calendar that I have. There's an extra space and I like to have a to buy section, so I'll typically just try and jot it up there right as I'm moving the food into the pantry or the fridge, so I remember not to forget it. So Josie and I are just loading up the fridge. There she goes, putting the milk away, and we are just getting our cold things put away and getting ready for the week. So I wanted to show you some of the meals that we keep in regular rotation in my house. I forgot to get any footage of the pulled pork meal, but all I do is pork tenderloin in the crock pot, shredded up, and then we have pulled pork sandwiches. So that was Monday night, and now it's Tuesday night, and I'm making the fancy macaroni and cheese. I will put the recipe that I found on Pinterest in the description box down below, but I also will show you my recipe book that I have written the recipe into if you want to pause the video and like take a screenshot of it so you can try this recipe out on your own. So cooking a good dinner and planning out meals is something that I've had to grow into since marrying my husband and having kids. I was a cereal for dinner some nights, a person who it became 8 o'clock and my husband and I were staring at each other like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do for dinner? We're starving kind of people. And I've always wanted to be good at cooking dinners. I always wanted to be planned. I, in college, was the type of person who I loved like the syllabus week and the first day of classes because I would be able to write all my assignments down and plan everything out in my planner and get it all nice and organized. So I've always really enjoyed the planning aspect of it, but cooking an actual meal was always daunting to me. I felt like I always screwed something up. Nothing went to plan. And I've had to really grow into this kind of like cooking and planning and homemaking. I would not say it came naturally to me, but it's something that I've really tried to work on. And so these meals are not gourmet, they're not hard. I thought this mac and cheese, it was like a really daunting recipe, but it's not. It's very simplistic and simple. And so basically, long story short, these meals are just easy and I feel like anyone can do them. And so don't be intimidated if it looks a little bit hard. So I do pulled pork mac and cheese and my husband does buffalo chicken mac and cheese. So I reused the pork from the night before and then I made buffalo chicken in the crock pot, shredded it up and used it for my husband's mac and cheese. So now the next night I'm using some of that buffalo chicken that I had made for the night before and now we're making buffalo chicken sliders. So you can see how I'm trying to think through my meals. This night was super easy because I didn't have to put anything in the crock pot during the day. I didn't have to cook anything at night. I was really just taking that meat out of the fridge, warming it, and then making our sliders. I will always love this meal because one, it's easy, but two, it's the very first meal that I can remember after being married and wanting to cook dinners and, be a homemaker and be a traditional wife. It's just something I've always wanted to do. So that was something near and dear to my heart. This was the first recipe that I found and made that I felt like my husband was like, wow, that was really good. And so this will always be a special one in our rotation just because it was the first meal that I didn't ask my mom. I found just by myself and it was successful. And so I'll never forget that. I just think that it's just such a special memory, but it's also a super easy meal. So I will link the buffalo chicken slider meal down below. I've kind of twisted it a little bit to make it fit our needs, but overall, such a great recipe. Okay, and here's the full meal. I've started to try and get better at including a vegetable with our main courses. I felt that I had to master the main course, and now I feel like that I've mastered that. I can add in some side dishes as well. So this is Thursday, night 4, and now we are doing nachos. So I made nachos for my daughter, which was really chips and cheese, and she barely touched those, but she would throw a fit if she did not have the same plate as her dad. And so I made those and then also made her something else. But I am making Jared buffalo chicken nachos, and then I am just having pulled pork with rice and green beans. So we all have something a little bit different, but it feels like a new meal because it's not just the same thing. And especially for my husband, it's nachos, and so it's not just leftover meat, it's a totally different meal. And so that's what I love about meal planning, is that you can make it easy on yourself, but also it feels like very thought out and a very good meal. along with my daughter's little tiny plate of nachos, I also wanted to make sure she was getting some nutrition in, and so she's got applesauce, one of these cutie clementines, green beans, and some rice to eat as well. Well, if you've made it to this part of the video, thank you so much. I completely appreciate you being here, taking time out of your day to watch this video and spend some time with me. Be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more content, and if you like this video and if you think someone else would enjoy my videos as well, make sure you share it with them. And I hope you have a great day. Bye.